Well, I didn't actually plan to. If you'd have asked me a week ago, I would have said it looks like we have a world-class obesity strategy. There's people in other countries looking at what we are putting together thinking, well, actually, this is a really incredibly grown-up strategic approach to making a difference for child health. And then, of course, last Friday, we were told that they were going to go back on a handful of the really important strategies, and it just feels like history repeating itself again.
What are the measures that you think are the most important that they're losing?
Well, the first one is the junk food advertising ban, so that's after the watershed. So if you watch, say, the X Factor for the season, that's a whole film's worth of junk food advertising that a kid would get. And then there was the buy one, get one frees, which has always been wrapped up in complexity. And the complexity is, oh, you're taking away saving money. But the truth is, their own science and everything else that myself and NGOs have done is it just proves that they spend 20% more, consume more and waste more. So we're very pro-discount, very pro-discount, but not this specific one.
But there's a lot of people who say these measures are nanny state, that you're meddling with people's lives and you've got to get out of the way. Yeah,
I mean, I think the same people say that about any kind of public health measure. And none of us would want those nanny state regulations and the care culture taken away from the quality of tyres or the brakes on our cars or the seatbelts or smoking ban. These are things that make us thrive, do better, live longer and have more productive lives.
Right, so what are you saying you're going to do?
Well, I didn't plan to do anything. I woke up at 3 in the morning. I was so upset about the whole thing. I thought, we are so thrashed about news and things out of our control at the moment, and I thought, well, I've never done anything which has really tried to bring people together. So I went up to number 10 Downing Street. I said, you've got 36 hours, so that's 8 o'clock tonight, to come back and say, will you go back on the U-turn of your own laws that your government has put in place? I think it's okay to make a mistake, and I think, we've seen him do it before. So the Eton mess could metaphorically mean lots of things, like a lovely school, privilege and all those things. But actually, if you think about it, it was a beautiful pavlova, right? Just like our obesity strategy. It got dropped on the floor and it's a mess. That's where we are now.
He's making an Eton mess of it.
He's making an Eton mess of it. But if you think about the story of Eton mess, then the cook picked up the mess, put it in a lovely little jar and said, sorry, right? And then you got another dish. So I want him to do an Eton mess. I want him to go back on his U-turn. I want him to follow the moral compass, the scientific compass, the financial compass. I want him to have steeliness. I understand that he feels vulnerable. So I understand the political game, but us people at home, we don't understand all that. We just want our kids looked after. So I felt it important to do this. And by the way, if he doesn't go back on his U-turn, then I've asked the British public to come and join me and say, Boris, this ain't all right.
Today's also seen new inflation figures, and we know that it affects the poorest people the worst. Inflation for the poorest people is much higher than 7%, 9%, 10%, or whatever it is we talk about. I mean, what do you think are the ways for families and for government to start tackling this?
If you're a free school lunch kid, which means that your household, your family household, has to earn less than £7,400 a year, right? So it's low. It's about 1.2 million kids. There's a gap between there and families on universal credit by quite a few £1,000s. And I would put free school lunches right up to universal credit for sure. That would definitely make a massive difference. That covers them for breakfast and for lunch, 190 days of the year. So the other days is what we call holiday hunger that you saw Marcus Rashford so brilliantly campaign for, and that's the same benefits, but all of a sudden you've got to pay for a whole load more meals. That's the nearest thing that I've seen before to this cost of living crisis that we are describing right now.
Jamie Oliver, thank you very much.
Thank you.